teachers of Reddit. What's the stupidest thing you've caught a student doing in your class? 9th grade girls ate pot brownies for the first time. Freaked out in class. Asked to go to the nurse. And cried that they needed to go to confession. Had a kid who used his school ID and a pile of eraser shavings to try and teach his friends how to do a line of coke. Snorting included. Not sure inhaling eraser shavings has the same effect. Kid in band. Worriedly hypothetically, what would be the worst thing that could happen if somebody drank some valve oil? Me, are you asking me this because you drank some valve oil? Kid maybe. Had a student who would bang on the windows when she was upset. She would only tap it, but I'd stop her and say don't do that, you're gonna break it and hurt yourself. Sure enough, one day she hit the window extra hard and it shattered. Poor girl just looked at me and started to cry with blood dripping down her arm. Had a 6th grade student tell people to call him Jigglypuff. He regretted it after 2 hours until he eventually left the school. I had a student A who copied part of another student's B lab report. The problem is that they shared the document in docs and student B wrote in the text in a freaking different color something along the lines of, you should change this section of your analysis because it's too similar to mine and the teacher might notice. The two students then had 6-8 lines of dialogue in 2 different colors where they discuss the text they are plagiarizing. And it was handed in without taking those parts out. Talk about amateurs. Student was holding scissors very close to his eyes. When I asked why he was doing this, he responded that he was just trimming his eyelashes. That's all. Said it like it was a completely normal thing to do. Had a kid who liked to fart during class to get attention. Would do it multiple times a class period until one day he pushed too hard and crapped his pants. Never did it again. I caught some junior high students putting big rocks in the toilet bowl. Later, they were summoned before the principal. I witnessed a girl chew a pen and it burst in her mouth. She then spat the contents onto another student who smacked her with his chair. Middle school was a bit mad. The little blue ones. I caught a kindergartner hiding under the desk pooping on his backpack. One kid was throwing candy on the floor. The other was hoovering it up with their mouth. High school students on a noticeably dirty floor. Had a student crumble up his test out of frustration. Put it in his coat pocket he was wearing and asked to take a walk. No a-hole here, bro. Kid turned in handwritten science report as part of final project and was failed for plagiarism upon receipt. Next day kid, I'm called to principal's office and find kid with parents demanding to know how I could fail their child without even reading the paper. I really enjoyed the look on the mom's face when she saw her kid's paper that was a hand copied wiki page complete with image tiles and footnote numbers. I'm not a teacher, but I remember a teacher of mine playing a trick on a kid that had chewing tobacco in his mouth in class. I suppose I would have been a junior in HS at the time. The dude was holding in his spit and had a spitter he could use, but it would be super obvious if the teacher was facing him. So the teacher noticed him and started engaging him in questions and not turning her back to the board. He kept nodding and pretending to agree or disagree until she eventually asked him a question that required a spoken answer. By this time, he had a full mouthful of chew spit. He swallowed the whole dip and all the spit and answered the question. Her response was, "I bet you won't do that again, will you?" To his credit, he didn't dip in class again. The whole class knew what the teacher was doing, and they knew he had a big dip in. We all thought it was hilarious. It's easy to swallow a piece of illicit chewing gum. Much harder to swallow tobacco. I once had a kid 7th grader come to school covered in soot and reeking of what smelled like a BBQ grill. Turned out he was high off his ass and was trying to cook out marijuana extract on his stove in his kitchen and his stuff exploded on him. He was so high he couldn't think of anything better to do but come to school since he was already in trouble for truancy. That and the dozens of other kids I've busted coming to school high in my 7 years working in public school in Colorado. I teach college. One of my students tried to bite another one last week. Because the first girl was trying to take a snap of her, I threw them out and reported the behavior because screaming, fighting, and trying to bite one another in class is not college behavior. They showed up to the next class straight up pouting that they won't be allowed to act like this in class anymore. Not a teacher, but my own idiot son. 7th grade. Decided it would be funny to take instant mashed potatoes to school in a small baggie. Told his friends it was Exodus. Other kid sees idiot son with drugs. Runs out of bathroom to tell teacher. Son freaks out and flushes baggie. Expelled for a year for bringing drugs to school. He's 15 now. Still catches shit about it from family. Trying to light another kid's hair on fire. In my last year teaching, I worked with high school freshmen. I had them working in groups one day and noticed smoke puffing up from a group on the opposite side of the classroom. I blinked hard, no longer saw smoke, and figured I was just seeing things. A minute later, I see smoke again, and 3 students at that table staring right at me. I go in for a closer look, just in time to catch a young lady hiding her vape pen. I email an assistant principal to come up to my room because a student is vaping in class, and she responds, "LOL, seriously?" I was teaching my 4th grade class one year when suddenly, a cell phone starts ringing. This was probably 10 years ago, so it was not at all common for a 4th grader to have one, let alone to have it start ringing in class. It was the first time that happened to me as a teacher, so I stopped class and asked who had a cell phone. Everyone is shaking their heads, looking around, trying to find where it's coming from. Suddenly, one of the chubbier boys in my class figured out it's him, stands up, and shouts, "Oh no, I have my sister's pants on by mistake. She's gonna kill me." Trying to convert their classmates to their religion. Getting your fellow 4th graders excited to be JW when they know they won't get birthdays, Christmas, Halloween, Easter baskets, or St. Patrick's Day tricks was ambitious and never going to happen. Not a teacher, but in class I think it was grade 2, I saw this one kid crack open 3 glow sticks and drink the liquid. He's done a lot of other stupid things, but this is one of his highlights. One time I had a student 2nd grade who was constantly getting out of his seat and running around. I got fed up and told him to glue himself to his seat. He decided to take it literally. Maybe I was the stupid one here. Another time a student tried to tell me that his real name was Blaze 1st grade. Was a teacher. Had this sole kid who would show once or twice a month. Due to his performance plan made by the school, whenever he showed I had to let him be in the class, even though it was always a disruption. I had to make work packets to send with him. They were a lot of work to make, and he never did the work. One day he strolled in with chewing tobacco in his lip. He had a bottle of lemonade in one hand and an empty bottle for spitting in the other. School was tobacco free, but rules didn't apply to him. I sat silently as he disrupted the students around him, spitting in the spit bottle, then taking a drink of lemonade, not paying attention. He spits into the lemonade. I know what's coming next. Watching with absolute glee, he takes a big drink from the tobacco spit bottle. He instantly starts swearing and gagging, runs out of the room to the bathroom and doesn't return. Best day of my teaching career. Not a teacher, but someone let off a firecracker in the senior toilets and blew up the toilet. Worst part, someone was in the stall next to it. My basketball coach, who is also a teacher, told us a story about a kid who would strip out of his clothes at the back of the class. The kid would just take off his shirt, shoes, socks, and sometimes even his pants. All of this for absolutely no reason. When asked why he was stripping, he'd look down and wonder how he lost his clothing. He definitely had some type of unidentified mental issue, but it was definitely strange behavior nevertheless. We have a bathroom attached to our classroom. I caught a kid scooping water from the faucet and carrying it over to the trash can. The bathroom got shut down for the rest of the day. Same year I had a kid poop his pants and try to wash it off in the sink. I didn't know it happened until an hour later when someone told me poop was all over the sink. Countless numbers of kids had washed their hands without noticing somehow. That bathroom went through a lot that year. Private English teacher here. Once a student texted me that he needed help with an assignment for school. He had to write a letter of about 150 words. So nothing too complicated. I told him that we could arrange a class so that we could do it. But he said that it wasn't necessary and he would just send it to me to take a look at it. I thought he meant that I take a look at the letter he had written. But he actually sent me the task sheet. I asked him exactly what he needed help with, and it turned out that he wanted me to write the letter for him. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.